Okay, so today is day two of our first unit, and we're solving one and two-step equations. So remember, the goal is to find the variable, the value of the variable that makes this equation true. So we're going to isolate the variable. We don't need to worry about combining like terms. We don't need to worry about moving the variable to one side. That's going to come by later. So the goal is going to be that you can solve one-step and two-step equations. So looking at this practice to start, what I want to look at is what operations and what are the things that are being done in each step. So in problem number one right here, we have 4x plus 6 equals negative 18. What did they do right here? They subtracted by 6. The reason we add or subtract to isolate the variable term to get this thing by itself, that's what we need to first do, get x all by itself. We do this, and this is called a zero pair. We want to zero this out because if we add or subtract by 0, that doesn't do anything. It goes away. 18, negative 18 minus 16, that's digging a deeper hole. So now we're at negative 24, which is perfectly fine. Now our next step, we have to remove and we have to peel this 4 off. This 4 is multiplying. So in order to get rid of this multiplying by 4, we have to do the opposite, which is divide by 4. We want to reduce this value in front of x. We want to reduce to 1. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. Negative 24 divided by 4, a negative divided by a positive is a negative. 24 divided by 4, that's 6. Now here's an important piece. This is one of the times that we can double check ourselves and make sure that we are perfect and that we have the correct answer. So here what we did is we rewrote the problem 4, 4. Plus 6, plus 6. Negative 18, negative 18. And then we said, hey, x equals negative 6, so we're going to substitute that in for x. And we could type this whole thing into Desmos just to make sure that we get negative 18 out. 4 times 6 is 24. Positive times a negative is a negative. Negative 24 plus 6 is negative 18. So yeah, this is our check. So we substitute. To check. This is correct. So because this is true and this is correct, we have our correct answer. Our answer is negative 6. In problem number 2, there is one thing that is different compared to problem number 1. We have parentheses. So we go back to what we did on day 1, which was distribute and combine like terms. Remember, we're not doing combining like terms today. That's going to be a later thing. So our first step is to distribute. So we distribute the negative 2 to both of these values. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times positive 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Negative times a positive is a negative. So we distribute first. Now that we no longer have parentheses, now we start isolating the variable. Now we add or subtract to isolate the variable term. We want to get this thing, this negative 2x, all by itself. So the opposite of subtracting 8 is adding 8. So we add 8. This goes away, which is what we wanted. We're left with negative 2x. Negative 10 plus 8 is negative 2. Now here, to peel that negative 2 off, we divide by negative 2, which reduces this value down to 1. And we get negative 2 divided by negative 2, and that's just 1. So our x value is 1. So if we substitute this in, I'm going to write negative 2 parenthesis 1. I'm substituting that 1 in for x up here. Plus 4 equals negative 10. I want to see if this is true, because if this is true, then I've done this correctly. Okay? Nothing happens with this negative 2 out front. I got a pen that keeps moving closer to me. 1 plus 4, that's 5. Again, I'm still wondering if that equals negative 10. 2 times 5, that's 10. Negative times a positive, that's a negative. So negative 10 equals negative 10. So my answer is correct. That means out of all of the numbers in the real number system, every number that we can think of, 1 is the only value that will work here that will make this negative 10. All right, so problems 3 and 4, these are one-step problems. Right now I'm looking at problem number 4. It says it has a negative x. So just like up here, I had 4x. Over here, I had negative 2x. Here, I just have negative x. So I need to divide by something in order to get x all by itself. I want to reduce it to 1. Currently, it's negative 1. So I need to divide by negative 1. This will allow me to reduce this to just x. It gets rid of that negative sign. 28 divided by 1 is 28. 28 divided by negative 1 is negative 28. And if I punch this into Desmos, negative 28, a negative times a negative gives me a positive. 28 equals 28. So my answer is correct. So I just substituted this negative 28. I substituted in for x. I could plug this into Desmos and verify that my answer is correct. Problem number 4 often throws students for a loop. Here we're dividing by 3. So if I go up here, I would add or subtract to isolate the variable term. Well, my first step is distribute. I don't have any parentheses, so I don't have to do that. My next step is to add or subtract to isolate the variable. There's no adding or subtracting, so I don't have to do that. So my last step, multiply or divide to solve for the variable. Here, I'm dividing by 3, so I need to do the opposite of dividing by 3. The opposite of dividing by 3 is multiplying by 3, which reduces this to 1, which is what I want. So I'm left with x equals 12 times 3 is 36. Negative times a positive is a negative. So now I could substitute that in to verify my answer. Negative 36 divided by 3. Does that equal negative 12? First, 36 divided by 3, that's 12. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. Negative divided by a positive is a negative. So yes, my check is correct. Problem number 4, again, I'm going to go through the same method. Distribute first. There are no parentheses. That step is done. Add or subtract to isolate the variable term. I have adding or subtracting right here, so I need to deal with that first. The opposite of subtracting 3 is adding 3. I want to create a 0 pair. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0, so that goes away. I'm left with 4m equals 15 plus 3 is 18. My final step, multiply or divide to solve the variable and reduce to 1. I have 4 m's right here, so I need to divide by 4 to reduce it down to 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1, which is what I want. 18 divided by 4 is 4.5. To check this, it would be 4 times 4.5, my answer, minus 3. And I want to see if that's going to equal 15. 4 times 4.5, that is 18. 4 times 4 is 16. Half of 4 is 2. 16 plus 2 is 18. Or you could just double check yourself with Desmos. 18 minus 3 is 15. 15 equals 15. I know my answer is correct. The final two, problem 6 and problem 7. Looking at problem number 6. First, I look to see if I need to distribute. There are no parentheses, so there's no need to distribute. So then my second step, or my next step, add or subtract to isolate the variable term. I have 12 plus 2x. I want to isolate that. So I don't want to move that. I want to move everything else. This is positive 12. The opposite of positive 12 is negative 12. This creates a zero pair. I want this to go away. I'm left with 2x. Negative 10 minus 12 is negative 22. My final step, multiply or divide to solve for the variable, reducing it to 1. I currently have 2 x's. I want to divide by 2. That leaves me x equals 22 divided by 2 is 11. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. My check, 12 plus 2 times negative 11 equals negative 10. I am substituting in this negative 11 for my x value. Here's my x value. I substitute in using parentheses. I have 12 plus 2 times 11 is 22. A positive times a negative is a negative. Equals negative 10. I'm wondering if this is correct. 12 plus a negative 22. So if I'm at 12 and I take away 22, I know that my answer is going to be negative. 22 minus 12 is 10. So I end up with negative 10 on both. So my answer is correct. Problem number 7. I have parentheses, so I have to do this first step and distribute. So I distribute this 5 to both the 3 and the 6. 5 times 3 is 15. X. 5 times 6 is 30. Equals negative 30. Now that distributing's done, my next step is to add or subtract to isolate the variable and make a zero pair. I have a plus 30, so I'm going to subtract 30. This zeroes this out. Positive 30 minus 30 is 0. I'm left with 15x equals negative 30 minus another 30 gives me negative 60. My next step, multiply or divide to solve for the variable and reduce to 1. So I'm going to divide by 15. And x would equal 60 divided by 15 is 4. Negative divided by a positive is a negative. My check, 5 parenthesis 3 negative times negative 4. Substitute that in. Plus 6. Does that equal negative 30? So my first step, nothing happens with the 5. 3 times negative 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Positive times negative is a negative. Plus 6. Again, I'm wondering if that equals negative 30. Negative 12 plus 6 is negative 6. Five times 6 is 30. Positive times a negative is a negative, so that equals negative 30, so I know my answer is correct. So that is how we solve 1 and 2-step equations. And these are your notes for them. They fold. If you look on the back, there are 2 lines, one here, one here. So they fold up like this to each line. You would fold each line, so they look something like this.